Other people, good morning and welcome back to another episode of the Counterpoint. Counterpoint with myself and everyone's favourite content creator, Connor McGilligan from One Leeds. Easy. Hope you're all doing well. I'm absolutely knackered. Listen, smash a like on the video. Go subscribe to One Leeds fan channel. Get your comments in. Hit that notification bell. We're not going to keep you long, folks, because I mean, there's only so much you can drag out of that Bristol City game. Big up to everyone in the chat, but more importantly, big up to you, Connor. How's things, bro?
All good, mate. Similar vibes to you, bud. Got my coffee this morning. So I think we've had probably combined about 6 hours sleep between us, haven't we? We haven't been sleeping in the same bed, everybody, because I know that's going to come next. We've done that before, but you know.
It's a tiring time in it. Tiring time. I almost feel like we need like fitness regimes to get through this content creation stuff, you know, like going to pre-season and that, start doing running and stuff, you know.
Never stops, does it?
Just constantly talking for 6 hours straight. Right, come on, just get one more hour out of it. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, 0-0. Honestly, guys, for those who don't know, like we had it with West Brom as well, dragging out any form of content, which is going to keep you guys actually, you know, you enjoy it. It's very difficult.
It's so hard, mate. And it was, you know, you've made a great point there because it was so much like West Brom, wasn't it? Like in terms of goal mouth action, it was just meh, weren't it, mate? The game itself. Like, give me your synopsis on the game. We'll touch on that and then we'll have a look to the future because there's not really much more we can speak about on Bristol.
Yeah, expecting more from us. I've put on my thumbnail that I think it was our worst performance of the season, but that you got to take that into context, like because we've been so good this season. Our worst performance of the season. It's not like I'm talking a, you know, one out of 10 performance. It was by our standards. I didn't think it was great, mate. To be honest, we had chances to win the game. I thought at points in that first half and a little bit into second half, it was sort of pretty 50-50, mate. To be honest, I don't think they were offering much in terms of open play stuff, but they were playing for the set pieces. The ball, mate, honestly, I think there was a game, wasn't there, where we played, it was like Huddersfield last season, where the ball was in play for like 48 minutes. It felt like that. It was just, I was watching the game. I was like, this is 90 minutes of my life I'll never get back. It just felt, I said on the 60th minute, I went, we ain't scoring here. It's just not one of those games. I just couldn't see it. And yeah, mate, I don't know, just I felt very sort of flat at the end of it, as you probably could tell by my match reaction. It was just from where we were against Sheffield United. It's probably just a little bit of a reminder.
Wake up call.
Yeah, you're probably right. I mean, the standards that we set for that game, and I would say the Sunderland game as well. You know, if it wasn't, you know, those, you know, we were sort of 8, 9 out of 10 performances to go to like it's a 3-ish performance out of 10, 3-4 performance out of 10. It was a little bit like, oh, right, okay. I didn't expect it, Joe. Thoroughly expected us to go down there and win with you. You know as well as I do in all the chat that we've got an unbelievable record down there. I think we've beaten them 5 times on the bounce. We always win down at Ashton Gate, no matter how crap we've been. So it's just sort of one of those that you tick off the list really in the season. But yeah, bit of a struggle, mate, wasn't it? Bit of a struggle.
Yeah. Yeah, it was, mate. I can't really build on what you've said, really, and like you've said, it's been difficult to speak about it, and you know, viewing figures and stuff have reflected that because the fan base all just feel the same. It was all just a little bit meh after the high of Sheffield United, and then getting a decent result against Watford, which started amazingly, and then it was attritional, and we come through it, and you go, do you know what? That's another like thread to the bow, if you like, that we've come through a physical test, and you know that was decent. And then, like you, I fully expected 12 points from 12 out of the next 4. Call me egotistical, call me naive, whatever you like. I just think this Leeds team is a level above. So then when we did put in that type of performance, it is that realization, I guess, for myself as well. Like, you know, the championship is like this, you know, the championship is like this. And Bristol City defended well, but like we didn't create like, you know, hatfuls, and I know they didn't either. So it was just one of them, like you say, you chalk it off and fully expect now 9 points from the next 3 between now and the international break. Plymouth on Saturday, come on. I mean, you got to batter them regardless of what bloody team you put out, haven't you? But I do want to talk about certain positions and players within the side. So let's start with left back. We know Byram won't feature there this weekend because Firpo's back, right? But Bogle is not available. So I'm fully expecting Byram to go out to the right. And we've still not seen Schmidt. The fact that he hasn't played him on Saturday and didn't bring him on tells me he's nowhere close at this moment in time. But just give me your thoughts on Byram's performance, what we missed out on, and if we should be playing him at right back or looking at another solution. Alice Schmidt.
Yeah, mate. I feel he's. Well, I'll ask you a question for start, because I was getting told 3 or 4 different things at the weekend. Where do you see Schmidt? Do you see him as like a rotational left or right back, or do you see him as just solidly one position? Where do you see him?
Either, really, mate. I know he played at right back this season, right? But before that, he was a left back.
Yeah.
I mean, he's played everywhere, but the majority of his positions come at left back. I would have felt that he was going to play quite a lot this season off the bench, with a view to him being a more long-term solution for a Firpo with Firpo's contract scenario. I do want Firpo to get a new deal, by the way, but he's not getting any younger kind of vibe. So Schmidt's the long-term successor potentially. That's the way I see Schmidt.
Yeah, I think that's a fair point. Did you know he's 24 as well? 24, so it's not. He's not. Yeah, I think
he's not young, is he?
Yeah, man, he's not young. So yeah, I mean, I think I've mentioned this a couple of times. That he was. I think. Do you remember the eve of when we signed him, Joe? And everybody got a little bit nervous because he just banged one in against Trabzonspor.
Yeah.
Back in the UEFA Conference League qualifier. So I don't know. It's a weird one, mate. It is weird, like why he's not featuring at all. But yeah, some people basically telling me that he was right back cover, so that's why he didn't feature at left back. So I was interested to get your take, really, because when we'd signed him, it was very much the other way around. So I think he's just a bit of a Swiss Army knife when it comes to left or right. So from the clips we've seen, anyway. So yeah, I don't know, mate. I mean, Byram. You know, I liken Byram a little bit to my relationship with Jack Harrison back in the day. I like Byram. Should we get Jack Harrison vibes in it, Joe? But I like him, but he frustrates the absolute life out of me. He's just a steady Eddie, isn't he? He's a steady Eddie, average Joe's Jim. Do you know what I mean? I think he's an all right player. He's not a left back in a month of Sundays. He inverts. I thought they packed out the midfield pretty well, Bristol City, and I think Byram makes it a lot easier for the opposition to defend, as opposed to Firpo, who's just constantly hitting the byline and pulling the ball back and over in offering underlaps and overlaps. Byram just doesn't do it. Bless him. He's not got a left foot. I think one time he got on the left, put the ball in with his left foot, and he just scuffed it. He just doesn't seem confident on his left foot. So it's difficult to see any sort of attacking engine on that left hand side, mate. I mean, especially towards the end when he was partnered with Solomon. It's just inversion because they won't go on the flank. So look, I wouldn't mind him at right back, Joe, because that's his preferred foot, isn't it? It's his preferred foot, so he's going to be able to go both ways. He's going to be able to invert and hit the flank as well. At left back, there is just, I mean, half the time, mate, he doesn't even open his body to look, to open your body, take the ball on your left foot and go forward on his left side. He won't do it. His body's constantly closed, going back to whence the ball came. So I'd say a good moment he had. A good moment he had was when he beat the offside trap, to be fair to him, put the ball in with his right foot, and Joseph knocked it over the bar.
He's got a score on it, Joseph.
Yeah, he has. And we're saying that more frequently, aren't we? But
we'll
another bit we can touch on.
Yeah, we are gonna we'll make our way up the pitch. But I do just want to clarify, as Scooby, I can't speak for Conor, but I don't think he's saying he had a bad game. I do think Byram was okay. But the point is like he's not Firpo, and he's not the same profile, and therefore doesn't give us the same things. We did lose something down that left-hand side with Byram playing, and a lot of people felt that was going to be the case anyway, going into the game, and obviously it proved to be the case. But he did have a good game, right, Connor? You're not saying he had a bad game. Oh, you are saying he had a bad game. I thought he was good. Oh, you are. Sorry.
Yeah. No, I didn't think he had a good game, mate. I'll be honest. I didn't think he had a good game. So sorry, Scooby. So Joe's on the same point now. Joe's like, but Connor,
I'm like, what, Scooby? Give him. Tell him again.
Get on to me, Scooby. Get on to me. I just think, mate, it depends what you define as a good game, right? By standards, look, what do we expect from Byram? As I keep saying, he's steady Eddie, going to keep the ball ticking over. Had a good head. Well, actually, probably a pretty decent chance, didn't he, Joe, where he knocked it over the bar, that header from the set piece. Maybe should have scored. That ball into Joseph was a nice little moment. I don't think he had many other good moments. I think his cross completion rate was I mean, it couldn't be above sort of 10%. And I just didn't feel at all, mate, he gave us any attacking impetus, which I expect from a fullback. But maybe I shouldn't expect that from Byram. I don't know. Maybe. But yeah, SofaScore, mate, I saw it. People in my chat were telling me he had an 8.3 on SofaScore. Really? I couldn't believe it. I just thought it was a very basic performance, of which I thought he stumbled a little bit over the ball in his own third and the attacking third. Didn't really think he offered that much. But defensively, Joe, as we know with Byram, he's going to give you a solid performance at the back. So, yeah, from that aspect, did he have a bad game? No. Did he have a good game? No. So probably somewhere just maybe just in the middle. I don't know.
Okay, so with a view to the weekend against Plymouth, then are we wanting Schmidt to start right back? Let's say, for example, everyone's right, and I don't quite go along with that narrative that he is the backup right back. But let's say he is. That should mean Schmidt should start on the weekend, then, right? But I still think he goes Byram at right back, mate. What would you do, and what do you think he'll do?
I mean, you look at Plymouth, they're not in the best vein of form, are they, Joe? They did all right, didn't they? I think they got 3 wins on the bounce, but I think it's gone off a cliff a little bit since then. Is that right? I've not been keeping an eye on them, really.
They did come back. They were behind against Preston and brought it back to 3-3 in the last minute.
Did they really? Bloody hell, last time I checked, it was 3-0. So, well, there you go. So they've clearly got some threat, haven't they? But yeah, I mean,
do you know who scored the goal? Do you know who scored the goal as well?
Was it Darko?
Who they got on a free? No, Andre Gray. They got him on a free. I don't know where he was playing. Do you remember Andre Gray? He must be
Burnley.
Yeah, exactly. So Rooney's pulling out all the old guys and that, and so yeah. Andre Gray.
Well, from what you said, it's interesting how you phrased that, Joe, at the start. You said about Schmidt, you said clearly he's not ready. And that's interesting, that, because I'm looking at it and going, it's either that, or he's looked at him and he doesn't fancy it. And Byram is the steady Eddie, isn't he? We know Farke can be quite conservative, Joe. I think we've said that before with Gruev and Ampadu in the middle. And, we've seen that at the beginning of the season, of which, there wasn't that much rotation when it came to like another attacking body in that double pivot. We were saying it before. You've just got to accept that with Daniel Farke, haven't you? We were saying that. So I wonder if he just likes a more defensive player, one that he can rely on, one that he's known for years now, ahead of Schmidt. That might be it. Schmidt might be ready. He might be fit and firing, but he might be more of a wing-back option. But then you look at Firpo and you look at Bogle, and they are wing-backs, aren't they? But maybe you just trust them more defensively. Schmidt might not be at the standard of which Farke expects right now. But, I mean, he's playing in UEFA qualifications at the beginning of the season. And I just think to myself, I mean, how what's the point in bringing him in if he's not used for rotation on the right or the left? Are we just having him as a warm body, like warming him up for sort of next season? I don't know, mate. But I'd go with Byram on the right. Doesn't irk me as much as Byram on the left. So it doesn't bother me that much if Byram's on the right, because he can vary his play a little bit. But yeah, new era, mate, isn't it, Joe? Yeah, I'd be going with Schmidt.
Yeah, I think that might. Yeah, I get it. I think I would like to see him involved more as well. And the reason maybe that we won't see him is just because he's played 10 minutes, Connor. We're on game 11 and he's played 10 minutes. So there's clearly something amiss. When I say he's not ready, obviously, I'm just sort of going along what the manager's thinking is, because clearly, otherwise he'd have used him, man. Come on, man. He's 10 minutes. He'd have used him at some point. It's giving me Anthony vibes, maybe. I don't know. It could be one of them signings that maybe the club have not forced, but, you get these scenarios where they've gone, look, we've found you this fullback and this is who we think's going to work. And then Farker's been like, I'm not too sure, right? We'll have him about the gaff and use him as a last resort kind of. We don't know, do we? But yeah. Can I get your thoughts on the midfield, Connor? I'm not saying there'll be changes there, but I guess had that midfield been Ampadu and Gruev, and this isn't just you, but a lot of the fan base would have been saying there's no attacking him. There's no output. He's playing 2 6s. What's going on? And it was very similar to what I've seen before from them when we've had these type of games. So what do you think went wrong in the midfield, or do you not think it did? Was it because I spoke to Lockie? He thinks it was the front four and their lack of mobility on Saturday that meant that there were no passes on. But it was something we've seen before from Ampadu and Gruev in terms of progressing the ball. I felt.
Yeah, I agree with him. To be fair, I think I was looking at it and I was seeing they were a little bit quieter. We have to say that. And do you know what? I think Bristol City did a good job. I thought even on Tanaka's touch in that first 30-40 minutes, Joe, they're all over him like a rash. I thought he was getting intercepted a little bit. 50-50s were maybe not bouncing his way. But I was mentioning this like second balls. I was mentioning offerings up front from Joel Peru, who we had the beautiful sort of camera angle, didn't we, Joe, at Ashton Gate, where you can see the whole pitch. So Peru's in sight all the time. I
got them binoculars out at one point on my watch along. We're fucking miles away.
Yeah, mate. I just don't think there's enough. There was enough mobility there. I agree with Lockie. I don't think there was a lot of mobility. I don't think there was enough going forward. I think Aronson was trying in the pockets a little bit, but I thought he was more of a really good option at the weekend in terms of like a press and winning the ball back and recovering the ball. But
he was great off the ball, wasn't he? He was
excellent off the ball, Joe. Yeah, I thought we were so sloppy though, mate. I thought it was difficult to watch at points. I thought when we got that ball in that front four, I was thinking, my goodness me. And that's not just, by the way, it's not just Aronson, it's not just James, it's not just Peru, but it's my boy Nonto as well. I thought they were just all off it. You can tell when they built up relationships, Ramazani and Nonto, and the impact Ramazani makes in this side. I'm telling you, Joe, that boy, there's an argument that he's going to be very, very close to one of our, if not our best player, Ramazani. I think I couldn't believe the drop off that we had him leaving.
I was quite surprised. Yeah,
I said it, mate. Yeah. I said it on the thumbnail, and I was getting pelters in my comment section because I had on the thumbnail "devastating blow," and it was him being out for these 6 games or whatever it's going to be. I had people telling me we've got the rotation. I was saying the drop off, even though James has impressed me and he go on the right, and look, I'd be picking James over Solomon, and that's a different conversation again. But it's one of those where I think the drop off with Ramazan is massive, mate. It's absolutely massive. I think if he plays in that game, we win that game. I think there's too much quality on the pitch for Bristol City to deal with. So, yeah, mate. I just thought the front four were just a little bit off it. So I don't know if I blame Tanaka and Rothwell that much, to be honest, because when Joel Peru is just stood on the centre back's toes and not offering anything in the channels, I'm just a little bit, well, okay, what are they supposed to do?
I'd have changed it at half time. It was that poor.
I would.
But then again,
would you have gone like, even I was thinking, look, I don't think Aronson was having a bad game at all.
No.
Even if you're replacing press for press, shove Joseph on with Peru. Go 4-4-2. See what happens on that front.
I'd have just taken bloody Pirro off. That was my thing. I didn't just get him off like he was having a stinker.
Yeah, he was. It was like one of those games. And look, mate, Joseph, I know me and you have been on the same level with this, really. And I know you're very much like, look, the manager's seeing what the manager's seeing. And obviously,
yeah.
I know that's sort of where your head is at with him. But we were seeing a more effective Peru off the bench. And I think we were seeing a more effective Joseph for 70 minutes in these games for me.
Do you, so in terms of changes then, the thing is, has Joseph done enough off the bench? I know he only didn't get a long enough cameo for me, but then he comes on, he has a chance, he fluffs his lines again, Connor, and then the third we're turning to Bamford, and Bamford looked mobile for the couple of minutes he was on. But like, what we're doing about...
But then, Joe, mate, why has he switched it up so Peru starts and Joseph comes on then? If Joseph isn't as effective as when he is starting for 70 minutes, and Peru isn't as effective when he's starting the game for 70 minutes, don't switch it up. Don't fix what doesn't need to be fixed. For me, mate, it's Peru when legs are tired. He comes on. Cardiff goal is the perfect example of it. clinical finishing. When their back line is knackered, he gets between the pockets, smashes it in the roof of the net. Leeds win the game. I just think off the bench, you were seeing a perfect combination. I think he got 3 or 4 goals off the bench, didn't he? And I don't know. I didn't see anything wrong with that. And then suddenly it changes. And I get it. It's a meritocracy. He scores against Sunderland. We started that game, didn't he? Keeps his place. I understand that. But I just think how it works system-wise is so much better when Joseph's on the pitch. But yeah, I agree with you, Joe. I agree. Joseph. Look, Portsmouth, massive miss. Sheffield Wednesday, massive miss. The one at the weekend should have scored. I don't know if it was like,
but it's not like a huge miss. No, I get it.
I'm not looking at it and going, oh my god, what a trouser he missed. It's like it's a good chance. He should have.
These he has to take in order to wrestle his position back, right? And this is what pisses me off. I watched Luton Sunderland. Sunderland have 2 chances. Chris Rigg, Ballymumba. Not Ballymumba, Mundell, sorry. Ballymumba's at bloody Plymouth, but Mundell scores. They have 2 chances, bro. Luton dominated the game. Sunderland got 2 chances. They score.
Strikers scoring worldies as well at the minute, isn't it?
That's what I mean. Yeah, Isiador, his name, isn't it? Burnley are the same as Jan Fleming. They were getting dominated by Hull. I spoke to a Hull fan. Should have been 2-3 up. Jan Fleming chance, goal. Last season. Vardy, fucking Armstrong. Why? I cannot remember the last time we had a striker that just scored goals, bro. Like, whenever he was on, like, that's just his thing. I guess you could argue Pirro didn't get any service, but a lot of that's due to his immobility, maybe. But we need to be clinical, bro. We need too many chances to score goals, it feels.
Yeah, it does. And that's why I think, we're talking about Ramazani just then, Joe. It don't feel like he needs a lot, does it? Ramazani, the Norwich one, throw on goal, bang, goal. Cardiff throw on goal, bang, goal. Watford 3 minutes in just smashes it in with a lovely effort, and the keeper's too hot to handle. It's just that effectiveness in front of goal. Mate, that front 4, he's the most effective one for me, just in terms of just putting the ball away. You look at how many chances Nonto had, mate, against Watford. And I love Nonto, but it's not like he gets a chance and puts it in the back of the net, mate. That doesn't happen. Aronson probably something similar as well. In terms of just the chances arriving and putting the ball over the bar or whatever. But yeah, you are right. And then the front 2, I think you need to give Joseph 6 games. Give him 6 games. Do what he was doing with Peru, and then just make a judgment off the back of that. But I think Peru's not got a goal now in 3, has he? And I don't know if he's been that effective in the last 3 either. Starting.
No, yeah.
So I think just start Joseph. Give him 6 games, and then look, if he's missing chances again, he's not looking effective. He's not not scoring enough goals. Fair enough. I've not got anything to stand on really. But I just think. We know what.
And then we turn into Pat,
What a sub that was, by the way. Oh my God, I nearly lost my mind when that happened. 83rd minute, Nonto. We didn't put the ball in the box, did we, Joe? You bring him on, you don't even put the ball in the box. My God.
No. So I guess we're content with Byram at right back because he's playing on the right. Striker, we'd like to see a change in Joseph giving a start, right?
Would you?
Yeah, I think Joseph deserves a go now. Yeah,
I know you get a little bit annoyed with Peru as well, don't you?
During the game, before this weekend's game, I'd said start him. He'd scored 2 assists. I said, you know what? Let's start him away at Bristol City. Should be an easier game, but having watched it, I'm get Joseph in, and like you said, it's a meritocracy. Let's see the changes because you started with Joseph. Peru was affecting the game. You gave him his opportunity. He's not really taking it. So let's go back to what you felt was the best start to start the season with, which was Matteo, So let's do that, especially for Plymouth. And there's an opportunity there for Joseph to score a few. And then we can, all right, confidence up now. Let's go away to Millwall, which will be a tough place to go.
When did he get taken out? Before what was the game before Sunday? It was Norwich, wasn't it? It was Norwich.
Yeah.
So he started, and then Peru had started against Sunderland, wouldn't it? Okay.
Yeah. Let's talk about the wingers. Obviously, Solomon, 2 poor performances now, Connor. And look, I was a big advocate of the signing. He's clearly not at the races. I thought we saw flashes prior to his injury. I thought he did well at Hull. He played well against Burnley up until the end. But he was poor when he came on. James looked better coming off the bench in the previous game, but it's clearly he's not fit. And like you say, the loss of Ramazani's really, really done us. Hopefully, with a week's training, we see James back at the top level. Or do you think Farker prefers Solomon? Would you prefer to start with him and move Nonto on the right? Because I thought Nonto was largely ineffective on Saturday as well, which was disappointing, if I'm honest, because we need him to be that star boy, a bit like Somerville was. And he was for a couple of games, but then the last couple, he's gone off it again after the international break, I felt. But talk to me about that. And look, I am going to defend Solomon because I think a lot of what I'm seeing online is agenda-driven, not actual what they're seeing on the pitch week in, week out. It's a real opportunity to have a go at him. So I will defend him in that respect. But in terms of the last two performances, I don't think he's been good enough by any stretch of the imagination. Definitely not.
Yeah, and I'd hope that that sort of I know you. Well, I hope that you wouldn't think, and the chat wouldn't think that I'm
not of you. No.
I have an agenda. I couldn't give a bollocks. Like if he whacked the ball in against Bristol City, top bins, I'd be going absolutely mental. Wouldn't give a you know what about it. This is just on the footballer. You know, me and you, we sort of disagreed at the start, Joe.
Disagreed, yeah.
You thought it was a really good signing, didn't you? And it could well be, by the way, it could well be an unbelievable signing. I was maybe a bit tentative just because of his injury list. And look, I've played with lads who've had meniscus injuries, and it's just not good. They lose just that next level of pace, and his was on another level, man. 3 separate meniscus injuries, one that he was out for 9 months. So it was a risky signing, I felt. And look, as a lot of people have just told me the same thing, like he's not been given a chance. He's not been given a chance. He's been on the bench now for 3 games. Now in the Watford game, mate, Dan James came on for 15 minutes with, I think it was with, I think that was right, wasn't it?
Dan with James. Solomon, yeah, they both came on.
Yeah, they did. Yeah. And I thought James was way more effective than what he was. When he came on, no, sorry, it was, what was the 70 minutes game? No, the 70 minutes game was Solomon was on for 70 minutes, wasn't he? And then, again, at Watford game when Ramazani went off, and I mean, I don't think he beat Festi once on the flank. I think everything was sort of cut in. And you said to me at the start, Joe, you said, look, if he does what Somerville does, and if he cuts in, wraps his foot around it, and it's these worldies like we saw against Leeds, obviously when he played for Fulham, fair enough. And if he does that, you've got to be able to defend against him on the inside as well. I even just looked at him at the weekend for 23 minutes. I think he was on the pitch. Joe, I'm not seeing anything. I'm not seeing anything. And bearing in mind, Dan James was out for 6 games with a hamstring injury. The same injury Solomon was out for 4 games, for 4 separate matches, and that's on Transfer Market as well. So I'm just looking at James, and I don't think he looks amazing, Joe. But what I will say is he put the ball on the penalty spot for Pro to put the ball in the back of the net. Pro didn't keep up with play. It would have been a wonderful assist. Non-tops, it was cleared off the line. I thought James was all right against Bristol City. I thought he gave us a bit of an outlet. Then I'm seeing Solomon, mate, and I don't know what he's giving us. I see him cutting inside, the occasional shot. I'm just a bit like, all right, mate, what's going on here? You know, he's not a crisp striker of the ball. It doesn't feel like. Doesn't feel like he's got that acceleration. He was bounced off the ball at the weekend quite easily. And I'm just thinking, mate, do you know what it all is? Because I understand that I'm going to get battered for this in the chat, and I understand, and I'm on the Just Show football show, and I understand you guys aren't as miserable and cynical as I am. But I just think to myself, I'm for 60 grand a week or whatever he's on, 50, 60 grand a week, which was on that Capology or whatever.
You put that up. I thought it were 50.
Yeah. No, it's on Capology. It says 60 grand a week, but
right.
that is from Tottenham.
Yeah,
but it says Leeds are paying 100% of his wages essentially. So I have no idea. Okay. So it's clearly up there, isn't it? So for that money, mate, and for the hype that was happening at the start, which it's going to be the best sign in the Championship. All this.
I'm guilty of that.
Yeah. But as well, it wasn't just you. It wasn't just the Leeds fans. It was the general. It was, my God, what a signing. Blah blah blah. This is my point when it's in context. I feel with all of that, Solomon being the signing of the Championship, the amount of money we're paying him per week, what we expected, I think he should be delivering more than he's delivering right now. That's what I personally
100%, yeah.
And I'm not, no agenda, no political lead-ins. Me and Joe don't get involved in that. Nothing like that. I just feel that for the money that we're spending on him, the wagon that was driven of this guy being the best player in the Championship this season, predicted by all these outlets and journalists, I don't think we're seeing enough. And Joe, he doesn't even look in shape, mate. For me, doesn't even look in shape. I think they all look leaner, they all look fitter than him, and I don't know. I'm just not seeing it at the minute, mate.
Yeah, I think, yeah. Look, I think what's frustrating me is like he's just back from injury. We have to give him a little bit of time. You know, I do think he looked good against Hull. I thought he was okay against Burnley. He gets injured, and now he does look a shadow, really, of. Well, I can't say a shadow of his former self because he weren't amazing in them other games. I just think the readiness with which to. I mean, people are already talking about sending him back, for God's sake. I'm a bit like, well, I don't know. I think that's a little bit too far, but that's just my opinion, and I think he will come good, and obviously then people will have to fall on their sword a little bit, I guess, and say, do you know what, I got it wrong. But hey ho, if he doesn't, then he doesn't. I'm sort of willing him to do well. I'm willing him to do well, because you don't want it to be like a big flop, like a Jed Spence was, for example. So, well, we'll have to wait and see. We'll have to wait and see what happens with Solomon. Are you keeping the same wing positions? Nonto on the left, James on the right for Saturday?
Yes, mate. That's what I'm doing. Yeah, Nonto, and I'm hoping. Yeah, I'm really hoping we see a step up, because now we're looking at a bit of a situation, mate, where you kind of, when Ramazani's out, you're kind of looking at that three, aren't you, behind the striker, and you're thinking, well, we did have like James, Rutter, Somerville, or Nonto, Rutter, Somerville, and now it's sort of like James Aronson and Nonto. You feel like with Ramazani taken out, that quality is a little bit downgraded from last season all of a sudden, when we're all talking about it being more balanced at the 2 or 3 games ago. But yeah, mate, we need him to step up, really, don't we?
We do. Fully expecting a win on Saturday though against Plymouth, right?
Yeah. Fair enough. Fair. Yeah, I think so. I think so, mate. Yeah, but it's interesting. It's interesting, the Solomon thing, and it's really splitting the fan base, it feels.
Of course, yeah, it is. For those that say sent Spence back, that was a lot of other things behind the scenes. I don't know if, unless he was late and all sorts and other stuff. I think totally different to the Solomon scenario, folks. I think this is a little bit wild. I did just want to bring this up as well. We've drawn a game and we don't need to be questioning him. Not for me anyway. We've lost one game all season. I think it's just a bit of a wild to be doing that. But again, this sort of stuff comes out in force after a draw away.
I guess what I don't want to happen is, and I don't know if this will happen, but I think the rest of the division outside the top four, we've spoken about it, is very, very poor. And I think my only worry about this is Sunderland obviously stretching it to 5 points, them having a better goal difference. I don't think, when they've got 9 points in 9, haven't they? I don't think we can let that continue, because what we don't want, Joe, for me, is like a battle between us, Sheffield and Burnley for that second spot. And I think with the money that's been spent on the squad, most expensive squad in the Championship and stuff, we've got to be, the pressure's on, mate, I think, and that maybe that's where the expectation's so much higher this season, because we all know playoffs isn't a sort of place that we can land. It's that top 2, isn't it? So we've just got to, for me, we've just got to keep an eye on Sunderland, because I'm waiting for them to drop off, but 28 points is a pretty good tally so far.
It is. They're doing well. Like I say, they've lost 2, drawn 1. Obviously, they drew against us. Should have been a loss, and won 9, obviously. So they are going well. And look, Stadium of Light will be a fortress this season for them. They had Oxford there this season. They got QPR away. Let's see what they do on Saturday. We've got Plymouth. We've got to beat Plymouth. Got games against Millwall and QPR, and let's see where we're at. We're at. But Connor, I know you've got things on today, and it's also October half term, so I've got my little ones and that, and we're going out for the day, so we won't drag it out much longer. Make sure you go check out One Leeds. We'll be back during the week at some point, folks. Looking ahead to Plymouth, but I don't think there's much more to talk about, so you might not see me for a couple of days. But if you don't, enjoy your few days. Connor, you enjoy your time with the fam as well, and we'll see you in a bit, people. Bye bye.
See you in a bit, guys. Cheers.